This video was created for educational purposes only.
On May 1st of 2023, a 34-year-old mother of three, Manijeh Starren, was reported missing by her frantic father. She had seemingly disappeared into thin air. It was reported that her last known whereabouts were at her apartment complex, in which was located in St. Paul, Minnesota. To everyone's surprise, the St. Paul Police Department would start an investigation into her disappearance immediately after getting the initial report. But no one was ready for what would be uncovered in this case. In a heart-wrenching mystery that unfolds behind closed doors, we delve into the unsettling case of the missing Manijeh Starren, whose disappearance that initially began as a perplexing case that was shrouded in uncertainty, has now unraveled into a possible crime of passion. So brace yourselves, because things are about to get sketchy. The life of a young mother cut short by a sinister monster. The discoveries made has exposed a disturbing reality, painting a haunting portrait of when relationships go horribly wrong. Join us as we delve into the depths of this harrowing story, seeking answers, justice, and a plea for change. Manijeh Starren was a 34-year-old woman from St. Paul, Minnesota. She was a proud mother of three, and was said to be a loving and kind-hearted person. Nonetheless, Starren still had her own personal struggles just like anyone else. It stated that she struggled with substance abuse and mental health issues. Because of these struggles, her kids were not left in her care. Besides that, Starren seemed to be living a pretty normal life. She was in a relationship, she had a job, and she also had her own apartment. But on May 1st, 2023, the St. Paul Police Department received a phone call from Manijeh Starren's father stating that his daughter is missing. He explained to detectives that his daughter had been struggling with substance abuse, and was supposed to have checked into a rehab facility a couple of weeks prior but failed to do so. He said the last time he had spoke to her was back on April 18th of 2023. He stated that when he had last spoke with his daughter, she seemed really paranoid and scared. Her dad explained that she was expressing her fears of her then boyfriend Joseph Jorgensen. The police immediately followed up on the report by going and performing a welfare check on Manijeh at her apartment. But no one seemed to be home, so they left. After checking for her at her apartment, investigators moved on to speaking with one of Manijeh's baby dads. But he also explained that he hasn't heard from her for a couple of weeks, which he found unusual because they would regularly speak with each other because of their child, and he stated that the longest he would go without hearing from Manijeh was 48 hours. He said his last conversation with her was on April 21st of 2023. After speaking with the father of her child, investigators would talk to one of Starren's neighbors. The neighbor informed investigators that there had been times that they would notice bruising on Manijeh's neck along with a black eye and other marks on her face and body that indicated that Manijeh had been in some type of physical altercation. But when the neighbor confronted Manijeh about the marks, she confirmed her suspicions but begged the neighbor not to say anything to anyone and especially not to inform law enforcement. Even a blind man could see that Manijeh was deathly afraid of her boyfriend, and in just a minute you'll know why. But it's instances just like this, that if reported could have prevented the unspeakable acts that were about to take place. But it's also important to understand that in most cases, even when reported to law enforcement, the most the police usually have the power to do is separate the couple for 24 hours or have the abuser locked up for 24 hours. Which may turn out to hurt the victim more because now the abuser is more upset, and the abuse may get worse. After speaking with the neighbors, investigators would go and speak with the apartment complex manager to see if he had any information that would help investigators learn more about what had been going on in Manijeh's life leading up to her disappearance. And the manager would have some valuable information for them. The manager stated that Manijeh had a boyfriend by the name of Joseph Jorgensen and he was regularly at the apartment. The manager also provided the investigators with a phone number for Jorgensen. Police took the number and ran it through their system and confirmed that the number was indeed registered to a 40-year-old man by the name of Joseph Stephen Jorgensen. The manager also stated that Jorgensen was not on the lease to the apartment, and that he would often see and hear Manijeh and Jorgensen fighting and arguing, but never bad enough to make him want to call and report it to the police. And he said that he never seen Jorgensen get physical with Manijeh or hit her. After that, they pulled up a picture from their database of Jorgensen to show the manager. And the manager confirmed the man in the picture was the same man said to be Manijeh's boyfriend that would often be seen at the apartment complex. But the biggest break in the case would come on May the 24th of 2023. Because on that day investigators would get a phone call from the manager of Manijeh's apartment complex, stating that they recovered CCTV footage from a CCTV camera that was located right outside of Manijeh's apartment. And in that footage showed an incident that had occurred between 5:55 p.m. and 6 p.m. on April the 21st of 2023. In the footage, it clearly shows a distressed Manijeh fleeing her apartment. But she wouldn't be seen alone because hot on her tail was no other than her boyfriend Joseph Jorgensen. The video shows Jorgensen aggressively snatch Manijeh up by her arm and force her back into her apartment. This footage would show the last known sighting of Manijeh because there would be no actual footage of her coming back out or exiting the apartment. For a total of one whole week, Jorgensen would be seen on the footage coming and going from the apartment a total of 28 times. Every single time he would be seen coming and going, he was seen using a key to enter the apartment, which was pretty incriminating considering that Manijeh only had one set of keys for her apartment. After the recent discoveries shown on the CCTV footage, the detectives had a lot to think about. And a lot of questions that needed answered. Like, why was only Jorgensen seen coming and going from the apartment after the altercation on the 21st of April? And why did Jorgensen have Manijeh's only house key? And most importantly, where was Manijeh? Well, that question might have also been answered by the damning CCTV footage. Because on the 28th of April 2023, footage would show Jorgensen leaving the apartment complex at around 4:55 p.m. carrying two large black suitcases and loading them into the back of a pickup truck. After running the plates, police discovered that the truck belonged to another man in the apartment complex. That was enough for investigators to officially go out and conduct a search of Manijeh's apartment. Accompanied by the apartment manager, police entered Manijeh's apartment. During the investigation of the residence, the investigators noticed a broken microwave and a TV with a cracked screen. The property manager stated that they were previously in perfect working condition prior to this discovery. They also noticed in Manijeh's bedroom that the screen to her window was popped out and laying on the floor. They also noticed that her bed was disheveled, with the sheet torn off, exposing a foam pad with a circular-shaped hole that had been cut out and removed. Also, investigators noticed red stains at the foot of the bed. After all the unsettling discoveries inside of her apartment along with the video footage, detectives would obtain a proper warrant to thoroughly search the apartment. The warrant would be executed on May the 25th of 2023. A team of forensic investigators would find a good amount of blood in the living room area, mostly atop the couch, on the floor in front of the couch, and in the kitchen. Upon finding the blood evidence, they also found indications that someone had tried to clean up the scene. After these discoveries, the investigators came to the conclusion that someone had been significantly injured or have even died in the apartment. Forensics would run DNA analysis of the blood found in the apartment, and it was no surprise to anyone that it came back belonging to no other than Manijeh Starren. Also, authorities were watching Manijeh's finances to see if anyone had been using her state EBT card, or better known as a food stamp card, or any of her bank cards. While reviewing her statement for her food stamp card, they had noticed that there had been quite a few transactions made after Manijeh's disappearance. After making the realization, detectives got a warrant to obtain the CCTV footage from the Dollar Tree where the transaction occurred. Upon reviewing the footage, they confirmed that it was no other than Jorgensen that made the transaction. But it was what he purchased that really got the investigators' attention. He purchased a mop bucket, paper towels, 2 boxes of plastic wrap, garbage bags, liquid cleaner, latex gloves, and disinfectant wipes, all while using Manijeh's card. The purchase was highly suspicious. And to top it off, a few days later at another Dollar Tree across town he would make almost the same exact purchase. Police would also obtain a warrant to run a data search on Jorgensen's Gmail and Google accounts, and what they found was quite damning. Because on April 21, 2023, Jorgensen made a Google search for the word jugular. And even more suspicious, on May 1st, he made a search for, "What do police do with a missing persons report?" And on May 3rd of 2023 he made a search for, "How to remove cookies from an Android phone." On May 27th of 2023 he would search for, "How to remove GPS from a Lime scooter." And on June 4th of 2023 he would make a search for, "Lime for soil." For those of you who don't know, lime is used to speed up decomposition. After all the evidence they gathered leading up to this point, the authorities felt they had enough evidence to not only secure an arrest, but confidently charge Joseph Stephen Jorgensen in connection with the homicide of Manijeh Starren. So on June 26th of 2023, the SWAT team prepared to execute a search warrant on Jorgensen's apartment. As the SWAT team swarmed the inside of the apartment, Jorgensen barricaded himself inside his bedroom. While locked in the room, he shockingly started a fire. Knowing they had to make their move, the SWAT team busted down the door, and that's when a struggle ensued. While attempting to fight off a SWAT officer, Jorgensen managed to grab hold of the officer's assault rifle, but was immediately subdued as other officers successfully placed him under arrest. As they conducted the warrant and made the arrest, the SWAT team also apprehended 2 other people in the apartment. One of the people was a female that was covered in bruises. One was a bruise around her neck. The authorities would later state that when they questioned her about how she got the marks, she would tell them that Jorgensen gave them to her. She stated he tried to strangle her and threatened to kill her, and she also told her things like, "The neighbors won't hear you scream, I promise." Also found in the apartment was new blood evidence. And when talking with Jorgensen's neighbors at his apartment complex, multiple residents had filed a complaint against Jorgensen on May 16th, and on May 15th with the complex's maintenance manager. Also found in the apartment was new blood evidence. And when talking with Jorgensen's neighbors at his apartment complex, multiple residents had filed a complaint against Jorgensen on May 16th, and on May 17th with the complex's maintenance manager. The residents said that they could smell something terrible emanating from the Century Street apartment. One neighbor said it smelled like a mix between spoiled milk and a dirty diaper, while another resident said it smelled like he had a dead animal in there. So on May 18th of 2023, 2 maintenance workers from the complex went to Jorgensen's apartment to see if they can find and eliminate the awful smell. And upon doing so, Jorgensen verbally attacked the men. And when they tried entering one of the bedrooms that they thought the smell was emanating from, he got physical with the men and would not let them enter the bedroom. After their failed attempt, the manager told Jorgensen that he had 1 week to clean the apartment and get rid of the smell. Jorgensen complied to the request. The manager would go on to state that just a few days later, him and a fellow employee witnessed Jorgensen carrying a few large black suitcases and putting them into the back of a pickup truck. When they witnessed the strange event, they joked around with each other saying, "What's he got in there, a dead body?" Also during the search of Jorgensen's apartment, investigators would find a large red stain in the closet that indicated that there had once been a pool of blood in the closet. The closet was located in the room that the maintenance manager said Jorgensen wouldn't let them enter. Forensic investigators said the blood had seeped through the carpet, carpet pad, and into the wood beneath. They also said there had been fly larvae and maggots in the reported area of the carpet. More blood evidence was also found in another closet of the residence where Jorgensen attempted to start the fire when he was being apprehended. Further investigation of the apartment, investigators were able to recover 2 padlock keys. And data recovery from his phone records showed that on May 18, 2023, his phone had pinged from a storage facility located at 881 Weir Drive in Woodbury, Minnesota. After doing a little bit of digging, the investigators found out that on May 5, 2023, someone had rented a storage unit under Jorgensen's roommate's name. Investigators were then able to retrieve the records from the keypad used to access the facility. Upon reviewing the records, they indicated that the access code given to whoever was using the unit had entered the code into the keypad at the same time that phone records show that Jorgensen phone's location had pinged in the same facility. After authorities made this chilling realization, they rushed to obtain a warrant to search the storage unit. So just 2 days after Jorgensen's arrest, on June 28, 2023, detectives arrived at the storage facility to conduct the search of the unit. Upon arrival, they were hit with a terrible smell of decomposition. Investigators tried using one of the padlock keys they had found in Jorgensen's apartment to unlock the lock on the door. It fit but wouldn't turn the tumble to unlock the lock. So investigators just used a pair of bolt cutters to cut both of the padlocks off of the door. After gaining access to the unit, they would come across some items in the unit that caught the investigators' eye. One of the items was a large duffel bag investigators recognized being one of the bags Jorgensen was seen taking from Manijeh's apartment on the CCTV footage retrieved from Manijeh's apartment complex. Another was a large cooler that was wrapped in plastic, and a large suitcase. Also atop the cooler was a green Rubbermaid container containing the cleaning supplies that Jorgensen was seen purchasing from the Dollar Tree with Manijeh's EBT card. Upon further inspection, investigators would find another cooler wrapped in plastic. Both coolers reeked of decaying flesh. But since the coolers had been wrapped so tight in multiple layers of plastic, forensic investigators had to remove both coolers along with one of the large suitcases that was also wrapped in plastic. Investigators brought them back to the station where they had forensic experts properly inspect the containers. The first thing they did was they ran the containers through an X-ray machine. The X-ray machine would confirm investigators' worst nightmares. The coolers and suitcase contained the remains of a human body. Now they just had to confirm whose body was inside the container. Even though they were almost positive they knew whose body it was. The larger cooler contained a torso, while the smaller cooler contained a head. And for the large suitcase, it contained the arms and legs of the body. After making this alarming discovery, the forensic team would have to carefully remove the body parts from the containers and suitcase. Once they removed all the plastic wrap and removed the body parts, they were then confronted with the tedious job of unwrapping the many layers of saran wrap that the body parts had been individually wrapped in. After the removal of the saran wrap, forensic experts were able to run analysis on the remains and confirmed that the body did indeed belong to Manijeh Starren. They were able to quickly identify her remains from her many tattoos and from her dental records. At this time, investigators still weren't sure exactly how Manijeh had died, other than she had died as a result of homicide. And after close inspection of the CCTV footage from outside Manijeh's apartment, they realized something totally creepy. They realized that the reason Jorgensen kept coming and going from her apartment for a whole week after the initial incident on the 21st of April 2023 was most likely because Jorgensen had dismembered Manijeh in her own home. And the bags he had carried out to the pickup truck had been concealing Manijeh's dismembered body parts. Wow, what a gentleman. Joseph Stephen Jorgensen would ultimately be charged with a long list of felony charges including second-degree homicide, arson, disarming a police officer, desecration of a corpse, and terroristic threats, amongst other serious charges. His bail was set at $5 million. But the story doesn't end there. Oh no, not even close. If anything, it's honestly just getting started. Because sometime after his arrest, law enforcement was informed that another one of Jorgensen's former girlfriends had been missing for some time but was never reported missing to the police. A 33-year-old woman by the name of Fanta Zayavong, and no one has seen or heard from her since July of 2021, with Jorgensen being the last known person to have contact with her. But, after doing a little bit of digging, police would also find her remains in another storage unit in Coon Rapids, Minnesota, about 30 miles away from the storage unit Manijeh's remains were found in. Also, both were found in a similar manner, indicating that the same person was more than likely responsible for the crime. But that's a whole nother case for a whole nother video. So leave a comment down below if you would like to see a follow-up video about Jorgensen. Because after the discovery of Fanta Zayavong's body, it has to have you asking the same question I'm now asking myself. Did they just accidentally uncover the secrets of an active serial killer? Or was this something Jorgensen is new to? Well, only time will uncover the answer to that question. But it definitely is crazy to think about. And it's also crazy to think that the person you've been sharing everything with can turn out to do something so heartless. Like, just last night you slept together in the same bed, told each other you loved one another, just for them to turn on you in the worst way possible. It's hard to imagine. But how do you feel about today's case? Do you think things may have been different if someone had stepped in and spoke up about her abuse? Or do you think Manijeh was already in the process of leaving Jorgensen? Maybe that's why he did what he did. Because he knew he was losing control of Manijeh because she was attempting to run off to rehab to better her life. These are questions probably best answered by Manijeh or little old Joseph himself. But Manijeh is now gone forever and, well, you know how it goes with people like little old Joseph. We probably have a better chance of winning the lottery than getting the truth from a monster like him. Hey guys, I just wanted to say thank you if you stuck around for the whole video. And if this is the kind of content you like to see, then why don't you do us both a favor and hit that subscribe button? Because we post a new video at least once a week. Well, that's all I got for this one, so until next time, case closed.